Yeah. Joining us now from the Big Ten Network, college basketball analyst Shon Morris. That's S-H-O-N Morris. Shon, welcome to the Artie Lange Show.
I appreciate you having me on. You got the spelling right. My mom would be happy.
Oh, absolutely, man. Are you Southern? You're from the South, it sounds.
I'm from, my mom's from Tennessee. I'm from Iowa. And as Brent will tell you, that would explain a lot.
Why is that? What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm about as, I got a little hillbilly in me, that's for sure.
A little, well, that's good. I mean, listen, it's better than a lot of hillbilly in you. There's probably some kids who have, gone away to camp and had a lot of hillbilly in them. Just ask the Sandusky second mile kids.
Oh, Lord. By the way, he was an academic All-American at Northwestern, Shon Morris. One of the most intelligent players ever to play college basketball.
Shon, is that true?
Well, you know what? When you can't run and can't jump very high, you better make up with it somehow, yeah.
Well, thanks for doing the show. There's all indication, and my buddy here, Brent Stover, is more knowledgeable in this area than I, but there's all indication this is going to be a wild, crazy, unpredictable tournament. That's what I like, man.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a fantastic event. It's sold out for the first time in advance since the tournament started. And,
really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
It's they sold out the United Center in advance, which has never happened before. I think it helps that, a lot of the local teams, relatively speaking, have done well. Illinois has had a really good year. Indiana's, the conference champion is not too far for them. So there's 4 or 5 teams that are coming into this that feel they have a chance to win it. And I think top to bottom, the league has been the best all year, and I think people are really excited to see how this is going to play out. But the anticipation for it's higher than I can ever remember it.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Absolutely. Talking specifically about the Big Ten Network. People talking about 7 teams getting in, Shon, and that would include Minnesota. And I don't know. It seems like a team that's backing in. Have they done enough right now as we speak, Minnesota?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Brent. They have to say they've limped in might be, an exaggeration. They're kind of like crawling in right now, but I think that they've done enough work. Their strength of schedule is really good. The games that they've won have been outstanding. They haven't had any awful losses. They did have a very bad one earlier in the year to Northwestern when they were more at full strength, but if you're Tubby Smith in Minnesota, you would certainly like to have a little bit more momentum going in. They kind of came into this event last year, if you remember, on a similar note and made a run all the way to the final. So they can get hot in this thing, and they have some talent. But the last week to 10 days, they have not been very good. And they're playing Illinois, and that's the 8-9 game. And most times that 8-9 game doesn't have one NCAA tournament team in it. And this one looks like it's going to have 2. So that kind of sets the tone, I think, for what this tournament has a chance to be. There's going to be a lot of really good games.
If you had to answer, Shon, do you think you could call somebody a legitimate number 1 team?
You know what? I think there's probably 4 or 5 that are just kind of all bunched up around there. I've seen Gonzaga enough. They're pretty good. They're very good, actually, but they're getting their best shot in everyone in their league, but their league's not as strong as, say, what Indiana faces in the Big Ten. Duke has had some injuries with Kelly and getting him back. Are they number 1? You look around. I think there's probably 4 or 5 that can make a legitimate claim to it. But the difference between college basketball and college football is that the polls are really just fodder for people to talk about. It ultimately gets settled on the court. And I think that's why people love, this time of year come March, because eventually it doesn't matter who someone in the AP has
right.
you beaten or what they have you ranked. You got to beat somebody.
We're going to play the games, absolutely.
The game that people are talking about from this past weekend happened yesterday in Ann Arbor. Indiana and Michigan down to the wire. Indiana wins. Tom Crean and one of the Michigan assistants afterwards got into a little bit of a jawing match. It was pretty much one-sided with Crean. Just overall, your take, Shon, on that game, the way it went down at the end, and what happened afterwards.
Well, that game had a Elite Eight feel to it just by how that game started. The emotions were real high, and if you had a chance to watch it from beginning to end, like I had the opportunity to do, you could tell that people were really ramped up because guys were shooting it very poorly, a lot of passes. You could tell people were very excited about that game. They kind of settled in as the thing went on. It was very physical. real competitive. I liked how it was officiated. You know, they let them play, but they didn't let it get out of hand. And, you know, it came down to the last sequence where that ball, you know, hung up there for Michigan on the rim for a long time on that tip by Jordan Morgan. You know what? And then I just would have liked to have seen people celebrate, you know, go about their business and go in the locker room. And I think what happens is that people forget in this day and age, if that would have happened, that little exchange 20 years ago, whether anyone would have even seen it, let alone talked about it, is debatable. But now, cameras are everywhere. You know, there are no secrets. So, you know, you have to understand and really understand that whatever you do, particularly in a forum like that, somewhere there's a camera that's going to catch you. So it was unfortunate. It certainly, I don't think, takes away from what Indiana accomplished going in there and winning. But there were a lot of emotions, big time, on both sides, because Michigan thought they really had a chance to at least secure a share of the title, and to come up short at home. You know, the emotions were raw on both sides, and they have the opportunity to potentially meet in the quarter or the semifinals of the Big Ten tournament, which would be very, very interesting to see.
Oh yeah, Michigan, Indiana, you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, I personally would love to see Michigan, you know, like that old school greatness come back, because that to me that's America. When like Michigan is great, Indiana's great, but. What do you think about teams sharing conference titles and stuff like that? There's too much sharing. There's too many soccer teams that don't keep score because they don't want to hurt kids' feelings. There's just too much sharing. Like let's get a winner. Let's get a winner.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think a part of that is, ironically, one of the things that could come out of all this conference realignment and these conferences getting bigger and bigger is that you may ultimately have to get to a place where everybody has to play everybody twice, and I think that's what's leading to a lot of these ties, Artie, is the fact that, you know, when you have 12 teams as the conference does now in the Big Ten, try to figure that math out. I'm no math major, but, you know,
It's crazy.
Yeah, but you know, you're not playing a true round robin, and so, you know, depending on how the schedule plays out, you know, you may be playing a team that's down twice in the season, and the person that finishes tied with you may have only gotten the chance to play them once. And I think what's going to ultimately end up happening, because this is all, I mean, they can call it whatever they want. All this stuff is being driven and motivated by money, that when it all settles down, those network partners are going to demand, look, we want more conference games, less non-conference games, and that's going to mean more of a true round robin. And I think that'll help eliminate a lot of these ties, because then, you know, look, you're going to end up playing everybody home and away, and that's what's leading to a lot of these, you know, shared out rather than outright titles.
Shon, do you like the way college basketball sets up in a year like this for March Madness, where it is so wide open, there's so much parity, smaller teams, mid-majors have more of a chance, perhaps, in terms of the depth of good mid-major teams that really have a legitimate shot? Do you like the way the setup is?
Yeah, you know, and I think that's what makes, you know, the March tournaments, Brent, why people like them, because, you know, David can't beat Goliath if there aren't any Davids in there, you know? I mean, so that's what people talk about. You know, they talk about the Bryce Drew shot that Valpo hit. They talk about Butler going and being one shot away from beating Duke, you know, and those are the things that people remember. And if those teams don't have a chance to compete in there, then those memories, you know, aren't there. And that's, I think, what people like about it, is that on one game, you know, a team that if they were to play 10 times, they're probably going to lose all 10. But that 11th time that they play, maybe in the NCAA tournament, and they have a chance to win, that's what kind of keeps people captivated. And that's where, you know, with the scholarship limitations, you've got more people spread around the country now. Programs can't hoard guys, you know, where guys now can go somewhere and play. And at those mid-majors, you're going to have more juniors and seniors, relatively speaking, than some of the places that have more one-and-done players. And look, yeah, we were all a little bit better at whatever it is we were supposed to do when we were 21 or 22 rather than 18. And that's why you see a lot of those teams winning once it gets into a tournament setting, because you've got some guys that are a little bit more experienced. So it's to me, it's the best time of the year. You know, it beats the crap out of Christmas and all that because you don't have the annoying relatives, and the only gifts you have to give are to yourself.
Yeah, Christmas does suck. We listen real quick. We're up against a hard break here. Can you, before we let you go, can you give us a Final Four prediction? Give us 4 teams, real quick.
Well, I still like Indiana. I think that coming out of the West, depending on how they seed it, the 2 bigs and the shooting of Pangos, I think you have to give Gonzaga more than just kind of a passing glance. You know, Duke with Ryan Kelly back is someone to keep an eye on. And then, you know, I always like to have, you know, someone that may be, you know, kind of out of the norm. And from some of these other teams that, you know, that I've seen, that kind of flying under the radar. Don't sleep on a team like Kansas. You know, they've got a big guy inside, and they've got a couple of young guards that can really play, and they've kind of dropped off a little bit. But that's a team to keep an eye on as well.
Hey, Shon, where can we find you this week during the Big Ten tournament? Studio or which games are you on?
Well, when I'm not in taking advantage of all the free food and refreshments, I'll be doing the 2 games for the Big Ten Network on Thursday morning and the 2 games on Friday night, and then we'll do a kind of a wrap-up thing down there on Sunday from the United Center. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and like I said, it's sold out, so people are pretty jacked about it.
All right, Shon, have a sandwich on me and a non-alcoholic beer. We love you.
I'll put it on your tab.
Do it, man. All right. Enjoy yourself. Thanks for joining us, and please come back. All right, buddy?
I appreciate you having me on. Thanks a lot.
Shon Morris from the Big Ten Network, college basketball analyst extraordinaire.